I smell food. What is it? Smell like chicken? Maybe chicken. Italian chicken? Yes.
It is a beautiful day outside. The sun is shining, the birds are singing, and none of that matters because you're inside listening to a podcast.
They don't have to be. They could be outside. You know, wireless internet is a thing.
Is it really?
What?
Yeah.
Tell us
Welcome.
more.
Welcome to the golden age of technology,
It's
listenership.
amazing.
All right. Hey guys, I'm Drew,
I'm Slash.
And I'm SnoShoe.
Indeed.
and this is Dem Guys Podcast.
Yeah. So, podcast episode. I think we're all a little bit lethargic for some reason.
It's Monday. Why do we record this on Mondays?
I don't know.
Because it's
I don't
the
know.
one day we're all free.
I know.
That's
I feel
true.
like Thursday is my most excited after work day.
Yeah.
That's when we should record.
and then
would be
release
so-
a week later.
Yeah.
So we're extremely topical.
They would never know. I think it's because Thursday, I think I mentioned this on the podcast before, but Thursday begins my 3-day vacation from wearing long socks. So Friday is casual Friday, so I can wear not long socks. But on Thursday
is
night, it's just
hysterical.
once I take those things off, the mood just increases from there. It's fantastic.
Wow. I don't even know what to say to that. It's just
Yeah.
that amuses me greatly. But yeah, we are back to you. No tornadoes this week.
Not yet.
And I don't suspect any out my way. I can't speak for the other members of the podcast, but obviously I survived the tornado warnings.
Yeah.
So
Did anything get, like, damaged or anything?
no, not that I have seen, like, be driving around the neighborhood or had
Yeah.
heard on the news or anything. So I'm guessing it. I mean,
Probably-
tornadoes were definitely spotted because that's what warning means, as opposed to watch. But I guess whatever was seen, maybe they didn't fully touch down, or maybe they just didn't do any damage where they touched, or whatever.
Yeah,
or
it
I
could've
just
been.
never heard about it.
They tend to not destroy things, actually. It's kind of weird. You know, like you always hear about tornadoes just destroying everything. But when you think about how much space there is that people don't live in,
Right,
that's
right.
normally where the tornadoes hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Except if you're a cow.
Right, or Helen Hunt.
That was a good movie.
It was a movie.
Yes.
Okay, maybe it's only because I've been on the ride recently, the Twister ride.
Is there a ride?
Yeah, at Universal Studios. There's
I had no idea.
It's not really a ride. It's like one of those theaters that you walk in.
It's an
and they-
experience.
Yeah, they simulate the tornado, kind of. So you have this. I mean, and the experience was made like maybe 10 years ago or something. So it's all fairly outdated, but you could tell that it's like high technology at one point.
Right.
But
This
it's still
used to
pretty
be
cool.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The coolest thing is when you walk in, like, the temperature is fine, and then all of a sudden it just gets really hot and humid, and you feel like a tornado is coming. Anyway, check it out.
Cool.
I would not pay money to be hot and humid when I can be hot and humid right here.
Well, that's not why you go. Welcome to the hot and humid ride, everybody. It's a great one.
Oh man, that's pretty hysterical. But yeah, anyway, let's get this show on the road. We've been babbling for a little while, but we've been having fun anyway, so that's cool. But we're going to jump into it. It's Dem Guys Podcast. We are on Gmail for our email, and you can reach us at demguyspodcast@gmail.com.
DEMGUISPODCAST@gmail.com.
We're also on Twitter for the tweetings, and that's at Dem Guys Podcast.
At DEMGUISPODCAST.
And I don't think that we're on any other social media because the rest of it sucks.
Yep. It's all terrible. Like, really, though, what other social media is anybody on? Instagram, I guess, is the only other thing that's relevant currently.
Yeah,
There's
and it's-
some YouTubers who have like a Facebook page and stuff, but
Yeah, I don't know. It's
Facebook
like...
sucks though. Like there's no good integration with Facebook pages with
Right.
anything else. You gotta hack it in if you want to automate it at all.
Exactly. I guess we could be on Reddit if we got big enough and we need our own subreddit for the listenership to congregate.
There you go.
/Dem Guys Podcast.
Exactly. DEMGUISPODCAST.
And now we're gonna have to go out and register that. Just it doesn't get taken.
No, you have to say the /r/ first.
Yeah.
can't. That's too many. That's too many syllables.
We're making SnoShoes like one job.
Literally 50% harder.
It's like if we're still doing this 10 years from now, we have like all these different websites that we're on, and he just has to go through the list.
It's like the first half hour of every episode is just listing all the things that we've registered.
You can find us on MySpace. Or Zynga.
Well, if we're getting sponsored at that point, too, it's like, go to the website and enter the code.
I hope, if for whatever really strange reason our podcast decides to blow up one day and everybody just loves it, I hope we never have to read those terrible Audible sponsorships.
Like they do it for the Minecraft one?
Yeah, I mean, it's guaranteed that we're not going to at this point because I just said that.
Right.
But it's... Join audible.com and buy a free audiobook at audible.com/damnguyspodcast.
There are creative ways to do it.
All of the ones that you hear are people literally just reading the exact same script.
No,
I was going to say, there are creative ways to do it, and then there's the OMG Chad way of doing it.
Right.
Which is the same way every week.
There's a YouTube channel, they call themselves Game Society Pimps. And, but they do some really funny Let's Play series, and one of the series they do is Fallout for Pimps, and they play...
I'm sensing a theme.
Yeah, they play they did Fallout 3, and they're currently doing Fallout New Vegas, but they just like do a Let's Play, and they're kind of really silly about it and stuff, but they take a break in the middle. For a while, they were doing a thing called the New Vegas Arena, where they would actually have... they're using mods, so they would use the mods to have these, like, two people, like, who were created by... if, like, people sponsored them or whatever, you could create a fighter, and they would have them fight each other, and they would, like, narrate it, but then they'd also give them some sort of fake backstory. But whenever they've had Audible sponsor them, and they just make up these two characters or whatever, but they use the arena to make you want to sign up for Audible and read a book or whatever. I don't know. It's a lot more creative.
They make it work somehow.
Yeah,
they
it's
play
a lot
video
more
games
creative
to
than
make me want to read a book. There's no chance that happens.
SnoShoe is a skeptic.
There's 100% no chance that video games makes me want to read something. I'll just skip the cutscenes. Like, I don't even care. I'll turn captions off. Subtitles, whatever.
I know people who read all of the lore books in the game Skyrim.
Oh my gosh.
There's a lot.
I
just got the app on my phone that gives me all of those books.
In-game reading to that extent, it's like, I don't want to sit on a screen, even if I'm not doing it on camera. I feel bad for the guys that are Let's Playing some of these series that have a lot of reading in it, because some of it's necessary to really fully understand what it is you're doing and to be able to properly enjoy the game, but some of it is just like, okay, that's great. It's a very immersive world that you've created, and some people are really into that, and I'm glad that that's there. I am not one of those people that wants to sit down to a game that's already, 50 hours long or whatever, and spend, 10 more hours going through all of the different on-screen text that they can come up with.
Yeah, and
for backstory.
I got really close to doing
a
KOTOR 2 Let's Play at one point, and except because I was going to do it with the new, they actually finished the game. So, or some of the mods came back and finished the game where you can actually go through the HK Droid factory and all this other stuff. That's really cool. But I was going to do a Let's Play, and then I was just like, no, because in those kind of games, the choose your own adventure type games, there are so many things to read as a Let's Player. It's like, do you read all of the options, or do you just say, I'm going to pick this one. This is what I'm going to pick.
Yeah, it's. I think that would be a tough decision to make. I've never tried to tackle a game quite of that style. Well, I mean, I did the short series for Battle for Westnoth, and there's a lot of on-screen text to read through there, and I despised it. I hated having to read through that stuff on camera, because it's like, it's all sort of, it's part of the story of the game, so I should not just like click through it, but at the same time, my gosh, there's just a lot of sitting there and clicking.
I live streamed Puzzle Quest at one point, and there's a lot of like sort of cutscenes with dialogue or whatever. And it's like Legend of Zelda style, where they don't actually, it just comes up on the screen and you might hear like a slight sound come from the person, but like it's not full vocal dialogue or whatever. And I was doing that, and I was having fun, like, coming up with different voices to do for each of the characters. But then I forget exactly what happened, but I decided to restart the game with a different character setup because I didn't like the setup that I had. And and then I just wanted to skip through all those cutscenes because I had done them already.
Oh man, let me tell you, the game, we haven't even gotten to the agenda yet, but
we're still at Follow Dim Guys on Twitter currently.
It will happen. But I will tell you, the game that I have played recently that is so guilty of unnecessary text and unnecessary repeating of text, and that's completely unskippable, that you can't fast forward at all, is I got it for my son recently. It's Digimon All-Star Rumble.
What?
There's a story mode for this game that you can go through to unlock some of the addition. You unlock characters. You unlock. If you're not familiar with Digimon, they have a similar property to Pokemon that they can evolve, but it's like a temporary thing, and then they revert. And each one of them has an alternate evolution that you can unlock by playing through the story mode. And you can there's like a card game pseudo component to it, and you can get cards by going through the story mode. So there's a bunch of stuff you can get by going through story mode, whereas the game really is more fun as a multiplayer, just Smash Brothers type style game. But every time you go through story mode, you go through the same text every time. It's the same level no matter what character you pick. You know, it's the same level progression, it's the same enemies in the same places, the same loot, basically, except the cards might be different, but basically it's the same loot in every place that you go. And literally, you come in, and it's like, I'm going to explain how to play the game using the default control scheme.
Oh.
And I'm like, I have played this story mode 10 times already. You do not need to tell me to press X to jump. I know how it works. But you can't skip it, you can't fast forward it. You have to, it's exactly the same every time. It is so bad.
Yeah, I really expect more from a video game based on a TV series based on a video game.
Yes, exactly.
I'm assuming it was a TV series first, right?
No, well, it's actually started out as like those sort of Tamagotchi type stuff, where they had digital monsters in that format, the virtual pets. That was the first format that Digital Monsters Digimon hit. And then they actually made a movie, like a 40-minute movie or something like that, first, and then that spawned the TV series.
Which spawned the video game. Which
has spawned video games, yeah. So, yeah. But it started out as one of those little, like, you know, LCD or LED type.
Yeah, the Tamagotchis. I love Tamagotchis. Yeah. My mom killed all of mine.
I had one back in the day.
Yeah, we should bring those back. I mean, I think they probably try. I bet there's... I don't watch too much Nickelodeon, but I bet there's terrible commercials trying to get kids back into Tamagotchi-type things nowadays.
Probably, yeah.
You know what else we should bring back?
The agenda for the podcast?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I was about to transition into that. Ready? Speaking of games with low-resolution graphics, Minecraft...
they can be high resolution.
They can be, but you're still talking blocks that are a meter on a side. So.
That's true.
But Dinnerbone was tweeting out earlier, I think it was earlier today, or on Monday.
Yeah, it was today. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Good one.
But he had tweeted out that a screenshot of the new up-and-coming, at least as it exists so far, 1.9 inventory interface, which has a couple of extra inventory slots in it, one of which looks to be for a shield.
Called it.
And the other two, one of them had a quiver in it, and the other one had arrows in it, and then the rest of the inventory had arrows of all sorts of different types. They weren't just the generic arrow. There were arrows with different color tips on them that presumably have different effects or whatever when you use them. And that's all that's been teased as far as that goes, as far as I've seen. But it was very interesting to see, and it's got me very excited for hopefully they'll start up snapshots real soon.
I've got an interesting opinion on this. I was thinking, what if the arrows with like the different colored tips and stuff, like you're thinking it's probably going to be like they add in some new type of crafting thing where like you can make the arrows when they hit like deal poison damage or like add potion effects to the arrows.
Right.
But, you know, maybe it's just like you can dye arrows now.
That would be so bad.
And they take up more inventory slots because they're different colors.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that was something that was being discussed in the Carnus Terra Skype chat. It was like, Baker was wondering if the skeletons in the game will have these different types of arrows equipped and may drop those different types of arrows. And it's like, could you imagine the inventory hassle of constantly picking up different types of arrows dropped by skeletons as you're like just caving?
I don't think they can do that. I think the other arrows are going to be craftable from arrows.
Yeah, I would think so. I would think it'd be like, you know, you stick your arrow in there and you stick, you know, some sort of item on top, like a piece of gunpowder or something, and it becomes, you know, exploding arrows or whatever.
I just pray they have a better way of getting flint, if that's going to be the case. Because
getting flint isn't that bad, you know, later game, because if you can get Fortune 3 on a shovel, you just get flint. You know, but for UHCs, where you're not late game, you know, you're kind of grinding gravel to get flint. I agree that there should be some sort of crafting recipe that you can just like throw a piece of gravel in your crafting grid, and it gives you the option to turn it into flint right there.
Right, like maybe 8 gravel for a flint or something like that.
Well, yeah, even if you wanted to do it that way, you know, for UHC game balance, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But you know, it's like. Yeah, I guess to as a trade-off, you know, you're saving time, but you're using more materials that way. There should be some better way of. I hate the idea of you have to break a block to get an item.
Just over and over.
Just constantly, yeah.
Yeah.
No flint.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that if these are like new types of arrows, like possibly an exploding arrow or whatever,
a bomb arrow?
Do you think
Trademark.
that would affect the bow enchantments at all? Just because I'm picturing, like, when I think of like different types of arrows, one of the first things that come to mind for me is fire arrows, which there's already a flame enchant for the bow.
Right.
Well,
yeah,
some of these
I wonder.
arrows, some of them are orange, so you've got to think they have some kind of. I don't know. They've got to introduce some new mechanics. Honestly, I think
it's a new mini game. You put dye on the end of an arrow and you shoot a sheep with it, and it turns it.
You know, they can make that. I'm sure we can make that with command blocks.
You could pull that off. That's actually pretty funny, actually. I think I said actually twice. Enjoy.
Actually, 3 times.
But yeah, I that would actually be kind of a fun game, actually.
And then like you have teams, and like it's like that Mario Party game where you have to get the most amount of your color paint on the paper or whatever. It's like you have a certain time limit, and you have to turn as many sheep your color as you can, and the other teams can sort of take back sheep with.
I'm gonna get to work on that before Sethling finds out.
Okay. I don't think he listens to our podcast.
Oh yeah.
You never know. You never know. It could be anybody. It could be Barack Obama. That's the beauty of the internet.
It absolutely could be. I'm sure he's taking time out of the affairs of state.
I'm sure he's got an hour once every 2 weeks to listen to them guys' podcast.
We're not asking for much. Come on, Mr. President.
Maybe just a question or two every once in a while that we can answer.
Yeah.
How do I run the country? Well, President, let me tell you.
I love that.
I'm now expecting next podcast we're going to have a question from like the real Mr. Obama at gmail.com or something.
Not fake Obama.
I will be disappointed if we don't.
So, okay.
I'll tell you what, I am disappointed. I believe.
No, don't do it yet. It's not time yet. I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
So we didn't get to talk too much about the shields. What do you guys think about that?
Well, what I'm wondering is if it's going in a special slot in the inventory screen, is it going to have its own like key binding as opposed to being, like right now there's a blocking mechanic where you hold right click with a sword and you take half damage.
Right.
With a shield equipped in a slot, is it just going to be something that you're carrying and it automatically reduces damage as a result?
I'm thinking you'd still be able to block with it, but maybe now you can do it with other stuff in your hand besides just a sword, possibly. Like, obviously a bow, well, assuming that it's the... I guess it wouldn't work, because, like, if you had a torch or something, right-click would place. So,
yeah, exactly. It would have to have its own key binding if it's a thing that you're going to toggle on and off.
Yeah.
Or maybe it only blocks when you're crouching or something.
That could be.
Sorry, go ahead.
Snow was just saying, maybe what if it activates that blocking like when you're crouching? When you shift, that turns on.
Maybe.
Yeah, that could be an interesting mechanic as well.
But I can just imagine all sorts of mini games coming from that. If you can block while carrying something other than a sword, like some kind of challenge where you just have to get to the end and like place something, and
right.
It's like you have a certain amount of time, but you also have to stay alive, so you have to time your blocks and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's very interesting. There's been so very little. I mean, this is the first that we've really seen anything concrete about this combat update that was actually combat related. I think somebody had tweeted out some sort of picture of like a vaguely recognizable new block that we couldn't tell exactly what it was or what it did or what its purpose was.
Yeah, Surge did some weird like riddle scavenger hunt online thing that turned out not to have anything to do with Minecraft. But there's potential that there was definitely something he was blocking out of the pictures, but I don't think that was related to a scavenger hunt. So some people think there's going to be birds, but some people always think there's going to be birds.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to justify birds in a combat update, but
hey, you could have
death
falcons.
Birds. What's that?
Falcons.
Yeah, there you go.
Falconing.
You know, owls are death birds too. I just listened to a podcast on my way on a long drive this weekend, and an owl came down and attacked this lady's head, and she died, but the husband got charged with murder. Yeah.
What?
Whoa!
Yeah. You guys can go listen to it. It's called Criminal.
Whoa, are you promoting another podcast?
Yeah. It's a nice thing to do, actually, when you're on a podcast.
That is nuts, though.
Are you
going to
spell it
crazy...
too?
No, I can't. I can only spell Dim Guy's podcast.
It's the only thing he knows the sequence of letters for.
It is. No, but it was crazy that this owl just came down and like swooped and hit this lady in the back of the head, and she stumbled into her house and died by the stairs, and the husband got convicted for it. But strangely, he also was at the scene of a murder where a lady died at the foot of the stairs previously.
Oh, I can see how that would make it a little difficult for his case.
Yeah. I don't know.
Seriously, sir, it was an owl that did it. Yeah. Was it an owl last time too? Why don't you just come with me downtown? Well, I'll tell you something that I know SnoShoe can spell, and that's what? KSP.
I can spell KSP. I just did it actually. Yeah, it's now out of early access, which is crazy because the first playable version. Let me see here. When was it? In mid 2011. So it's been almost 4 years, if not 4 years already, since KSP was released in its earliest state, and it's finally out of early access, which is just insane.
Yeah, it's. I mean, they wanted to make sure that they had it as feature complete as possible, and I have not played the 1.0 version yet. I played the 0.9 beta, a little bit, but I haven't played the full version yet to see what the differences are between that, and the previous version, the version that I played.
You know, the thing I'm most excited for, I think I'm going to go back and play it a little bit, but now there's resource mining in 1.0.
Ah, that is fantastic.
You set out to find ore, which can be found throughout the solar system, including on asteroids.
Nice.
So you have several different scanners to map out and find the best places to mine, drills to extract it, specialized holding tanks to store it, and a processor refinery unit to convert it into usable fuel.
That's pretty cool. So you don't have to. You could, plan a trip that you only have enough fuel to get there, and not back. But once you get there, you set up your mining stations and refine fuel to take off and return home that way. That's pretty neat.
And there's a lady Kerbal.
I had heard that they were going to add a lady Kerbal at some point.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool too.
There's all kinds of other stuff that I don't understand. But the main things, just reading the headings here, aerodynamics, heating, and fairings.
Oh, fairings are cool.
Yeah, fairings are new, and the aerodynamics system got overhauled, and they have a new heating simulation that makes you die when you get close to a sun star thing.
Sun star thing.
I thought you were just saying they added it so it's easier for your ship to overheat or something.
I think it is that too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Most likely.
Well, I mean, one of the things that was like the last real piece to this whole space travel simulation thing was the atmospheric interaction. They had, like, as you re-enter, they had the plume of red coming off of the spaceship and whatnot, but it didn't do anything. You know, you couldn't come in at a bad angle and burn up your craft. I don't know if necessarily you could burn up your craft now, but at the very least, it's something that you'd have to keep track of. So, you know, it might be. It might be something that's you know, a concern.
It'd be interesting. I don't know. I always want to try to get into it. I can't remember. I think I may have uninstalled it. Let me see. Yeah, I think I uninstalled it because it was taking up too much room and I didn't play it. But I'm gonna reinstall it, I think.
Yeah.
You know what the even crazier thing is that so it's been out for 4 years, and I guess PC Gamer does not review early access games. So they finally gave KSP a review, and they gave it a 96 out of 100.
Wow.
That is impressive.
That is
only
a very
the
impressive
13th
score.
game to be rated 96 or higher.
I believe it, and you know what? They deserve it because I mean, there's a lot of love that was poured into that game.
Yeah, that's
So-
definitely true. And nobody's really mad at the early access thing, from what I can tell. It's like you either really, really love it or you just don't play it. You know, nobody's mad that they're still billing it as an early access game.
Yeah.
But the reactions are very mixed. I hear a lot of people saying it doesn't deserve 96. I love it, but it doesn't deserve 96, or it's well deserved.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
interesting.
I feel it's well deserved. I mean, the problem I think that you run into with a game like that is that it is very niche. You know,
It's true.
there's a lot of people that thoroughly enjoy it because they are really into all of the stuff that they're aiming to simulate there. You know, it's very much like running a space program, which is of course what they sought out to do. And then there's other folks that they really enjoy it. They really enjoy the building the rockets and trying to get from place to place, but they're not as involved in the simulation aspect of it as the sort of creative / challenge aspect of it, I guess. So it depends on the type of person that is looking at it, what they're getting out of it, and that I think influences their opinion of the review.
Yeah.
Because I'm really into every piece of that game, and so and the fact that they have done all those pieces as well as they have, and the fact that they supported the modding community very, very early on with that game, I think is another feather in their cap as well.
I think the thing that I'm looking forward to most is the evolution of the career mode. I don't know if if they're going to continue to do stuff with it or not. And I
hope
haven't
so.
really played since they've implemented it. I don't think it's fairly new, isn't it?
The career mode has been around for like 4 or 5 updates, I want to say,
Okay.
at this point. But it wasn't until it went to the beta, so which is, I guess, the previous release, that it really showed a lot of the elements of the career mode that they had been planning for a while, like the need to upgrade your buildings and stuff. Because when they first implemented it, you could still build monstrous craft. If you had enough funds for the parts, you could build something huge and launch it right off the bat. Whereas now you have to actually upgrade your landing pad before you can launch anything that has more than a certain number of parts or weighs more than a certain number of tons.
Right.
You know, so that forces you to be very particular in how you proceed. And it has a little bit of that sort of civilization, like we're going to choose our strategy, you know, like we're going to turn some of our reputation points into funds or vice versa. You know, you have to kind of make those sorts of decisions as well, which I think is a fun extra element to it that doesn't really factor into the whole building and flying rockets part, but it does factor into the running a space program part. And so
Yeah.
I was glad that went in there, because it gives it an extra little nuance that I think it would have been very easy to leave out, but definitely adds to the game.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it another try. I'm excited. I think it's honestly an achievement that they've made it this far and then finally decided to take it out. You know, they're so involved with the community and everything, and they're so involved with the game.
Right.
And the fact that they finally were like, okay, it's ready. Like our vision is finally seen through.
Yeah.
So.
Very cool. So, now like I said, I haven't played the new KSP yet, but a game I have played recently, that I have found very amusing and very entertaining is a game called Ghost Trick: Phantom Detective. Which I guess Drew and Snow, you're both aware of this game as well. But for those of you listening that may not be aware of it, I would describe it as a very Japanese game. Because it definitely has a lot of elements that you would find in like anime and stuff like that, where it's got a premise that verges on the absolutely ridiculous, but makes for a fun story and a fun gameplay to it the protagonist immediately starts out dead. And you control him as he is a ghost, and he learns how to use his sort of powers as a ghost to influence the world around him and solve his own murder, basically. I think is the gist of it, at least the beginning of it. And it's a really fun... I mean, it's got a very simple mechanic. You primarily are just going through a story, and you're watching the story play out, but you have the ability to, maneuver your way to different objects in the world as a ghost, and then you can make that object do something. Like if it's a door, you can make it open, or if it's, a light, you can turn it on, stuff like that. And it's very simplistic in its control scheme, but the level of sophistication, I guess, in the choices that get to be made through that simplicity makes it a lot of fun, in my opinion. So it's available. It's on the 3DS, and apparently it's also on iOS for like iPhones and stuff.
What? No Android?
No Android. I was disappointed not to see it on Android, but according to its Wikipedia page, it's 3DS and iOS, which seems like an odd pair of platforms.
It is.
Yeah.
To have it on.
I mean, it was on
neither
3DS.
of those.
What's that?
I knew it was on 3DS. I didn't know it was available on iOS as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost entirely touch-driven, the interface. That you would be able to play it, the whole thing without ever touching the actual control buttons on a 3DS, so it doesn't surprise me that it also works well on, a smartphone, where touch is the only interface that you've got. But I'm disappointed that they didn't also port it over to Android. Because I wouldn't think that would be too difficult to do, ultimately, because probably most of it's their own engine anyway that they just wrapped like a compatibility layer around.
Yeah,
but whatever.
I think so. Whatever.
But it's very cool, and I highly recommend you check it out if you have not. Well, we had a momentary interruption due to technical difficulty. Our Skype call for Drew was getting a little robot-y.
What do you mean technical difficulty? I turned into a robot. That's not technical difficulty, that's technical achievement.
Oh, yeah, there you go. I'll take that. But speaking of robots, Drew, you saw Avengers Age of Ultron recently.
Yes, I saw it. I was trying to... Wow.
Was it good?
4 days ago.
There you go. Oh, counting is difficult.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. I think, for me, I don't know how I would rank it among the other, like, Avengers movies, because I definitely really enjoyed it, but I think part of, like, why I think I loved it so much is because, like, I just came out of it, it's fresh in my mind, it was really exciting seeing it for the first time. I think I'm gonna have to wait and, like, rewatch some of the other ones and go back and watch it again before I could really, like, rank it. But
I see.
Could you at least rank it relative to the last actual Avengers movie?
I think I probably like the first Avengers movie better. Not that this one's bad, but I think I just like the first one better.
It's super hard to make the second movie as good as the first one, if the first one was what everybody loved,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, sequels are always tough to pull off. It's rare that you have a sequel that's as good or better than the original.
Right, because the reason there is a sequel is because the first one was really good.
Yep.
Yeah. I will say, and this, we're keeping it spoiler free. I will say, as you guys, I'm sure anyone who saw the trailer knows that there's gonna be some new characters introduced.
Any of them die?
It didn't
Rocket
even.
Man still
It
alive?
didn't even. I'm not gonna say which characters, but there were some new characters that were introduced that I thought were really awesome, and I hope that more gets done with them in the future. Yeah.
Cool.
Interesting.
My wife
So
and
they're
I
secret new characters. Did you know who they were before you started watching the movie?
Well, I knew from the end, I think it was the end of Winter Soldier, and also from the trailers, that Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch were going to be in it, which I didn't know anything about them. My brother told me, which it's, I mean, two different universes as far as the movies go, because, like, all the stupid stuff about, like, the...
Yeah, who owns X-Men and
Sony owns one and Fox owns the other or something like that. But, or Disney, or I don't know. But
well, Disney owns Marvel, so if it's coming from Marvel Studios, that's
okay.
But yeah, I think it's Fox owns the X-Men and Sony owns Spider-Man. I think is the way that it works right now.
Okay,
like they have exclusive rights to those characters.
So which set of movies are better? What do you guys think?
Oh, the Avengers stuff.
Well,
straight
I mean,
from
between X-Men and Spider-Man.
I haven't liked any of the Spider-Man movies, so
really?
definitely X-Men.
You didn't like like Spider-Man 1 or 2?
The first set of Spider-Man movies were better than the Amazing Spider-Man movies, in my opinion. But
not the third one. Not a chance.
Yeah.
If you're no, I didn't think the third one was worse than the first two. I didn't absolutely love that whole series in general.
Wow.
Apparently, something was done with the rights that I heard that in an upcoming Avengers universe movie, they're actually going to have Spider-Man, and it's going to be a new actor and everything because it's a different company.
How many times they can't keep rebranding him? Like recently.
I know.
Yeah, I heard the same though.
See
I heard
how that works out.
Yeah, I had heard that they had managed to work out some sort of relicensing deal or something where they were able to make use of the character in the future. So
just bring back Toby.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so one of the obvious new characters in Age of Ultron is Ultron, and I was really excited.
Really? I'm sorry, I cannot respond to that comment with anything other than sarcasm.
I thought we were keeping this spoiler free.
I was really excited about Ultron because he was being voiced by James Spader, who I know of from The Blacklist, and I think it's really awesome. My sister, apparently, the thing she's seen him in is Pretty in Pink. And so she does not have a high opinion of him. So,
that's funny. I've liked the stuff that he's done, so.
I always think it's weird. Some people refer to him as, like, the best actor. Whenever he was on The Office for a while, The Office advertisements were like, and now with James Spader. Right. I was like, am I supposed to care? Yeah, he was on The Office for, I think, a couple of episodes. He was the new boss after Michael left.
He was. And I didn't care for him on that. I didn't think he did a very good job on that show.
It was weird.
I don't think he and The Office style were a fit together. But I've liked other things that he's done.
I feel like
they did the same thing with Blacklist. Whenever they were advertising it, they're Blacklist with James Spader.
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't like him in The Office.
Why are you promoting him so hard?
But, no, Blacklist is a really good show.
Yeah, I need to watch that. That seems like a really good one.
But yeah, and then after I was watching Blacklist, I found out that I don't know if I talked about this on the podcast before, but I found out that he played the original Daniel Jackson in the Stargate movie.
Oh wow, that's going back.
Yeah,
I do think you may have said something about that now that you say it again.
Yes,
that does sound like a familiar comment.
But yeah, so I'm a fan of his. What I've seen him in, I like. So I thought he did a really good job as
he portrays kind of creepy / quiet, scary, /
awesome.
Yeah, he portrays that type of character very, very well. I'm not sure what that says about him.
I was gonna say, what do you think people would say about us if we were actors? What kind of he plays really strange person really well.
He's very, very good at playing mentally disturbed. Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah. So there were a lot of good action scenes. I know a lot of people make fun of Hawkeye, like saying like he doesn't really fit in with the rest of the Avengers because like everyone else has awesome powers and he's just kind of like the guy with a bow and arrow. Yep. First of all, they actually make a crack about that in the movie. But they did some cool stuff with his story that made me be like, yeah, he's cool. So,
dude, Sesame Street made fun of Hawkeye.
What? Are you serious?
I am serious. One of my friends from work was telling me about this. You know how Sesame Street, they like to sprinkle in those sort of pop culture references to help entertain the adults that are watching.
I don't actually, because I haven't watched it for years, so I don't really remember.
Well, because they've done, like, I had seen a clip, they had done a Law and Order parody, and they had that, like, chung-chung noise in it. And the Muppets would always, like, look around, like, what was that? You know?
Okay.
That's fantastic.
But they did a thing. It was like the Vegetable Avengers or something. It was a Cookie Monster bit. And there was somebody who was they were trying to take away all the vegetables or whatever, and Cookie Monster, because he's not all about the cookies anymore.
Isn't he actually called Veggie Monster now?
No, he's still Cookie Monster.
Okay.
And he still loves cookies, but he
C is for cauliflower.
But he
Southern
was
Russian.
with you.
he was helping out these vegetable Avengers, and there was a whole bunch of ridiculous things that occurred as a result of this. But at some point in the dialogue, the Hawkeye equivalent, who was a zucchini, made some sort of comment, like, you know, in reference to not really being able to do much. He's like, "Hey, come on, I'm cool." And Cookie Monster goes, "No, cucumber cool, you zucchini."
That's excellent. I can't wait till I have kids and can watch Sesame Street again.
So yeah, I thought that was pretty impressive. But,
That's great.
Yeah.
Ah!
What was that? That sounded like a battle cry.
Oh my!
Oh no, it's a bug.
Oh, okay.
I did not see that as a transition in the least. But since you bring it up,
We're amazing. We podcast very well.
Yeah. Last episode, I mentioned that the Two Steps from Hell album, Battle Cry, was coming out, and it is out, and I've been listening to it pretty much any time I listen to music. I listen to that, and it's very awesome. I'm trying to think of a couple of specific songs that I can recommend if you guys want to look them up. But I think probably it seems like everyone is posting about the one song, which I thought was interesting from the get-go just because of the title. But then I've been listening to it, and it is one of the best songs on the album. It's called Cannon in D minor, but it's cannon spelled like the weapon.
Okay.
And it's just like a cool, upbeat battle type song. But that's like, I follow a couple of YouTubers who do Two Steps from Hell covers, like on piano and stuff. And like day one of the album's release, one of them had already posted a cover of that song. And that's like the only thing I can find posted. Like, I've actually tried to look up, a couple of the songs have lyrics, and I've tried like searching for those on YouTube, like lyric videos, so I can know what they're saying. And those aren't out yet, but it seems like no matter what I search for relating the album, the first things that come up is that song related.
That's pretty cool.
So I would definitely recommend that one. And then I like that the one of the songs with lyrics, who I found out the singer is actually one of the composers, Nick Phoenix, is called Battleborn, and that's a pretty cool one.
Yeah, it's a cool title.
Yeah.
Slash, are you listening to it right now?
I am not.
Okay, I figured you were. I was. I thought it was going to be like a cool thing. We were both listening to it at the same time, but it's just that Drew's
No, I was listening to Drew speak. Like
I was
a
listening to both, but
co-host.
his speech sounded so much more epic with canon and D minor behind it.
Well, okay, fair enough.
I appreciate that.
I imagine it would be. Oh man, that's pretty funny.
So yeah, I'm very happy with my new purchase.
Excellent. Well, you know, where battle cries come in handy.
Hold on. I'm sorry. I just want to point this out. Before you do that, it has been brought to my attention that a lot of times when we transition, because we did this with the transition into Battle Cry, a lot of times when we transition, we know what's coming, and the listeners don't.
Right.
So we'll transition and then immediately go like, "Oh, nice transition," or like, "Oh man, that was awful," and they have no idea what we're talking about.
Exactly.
And
it's a secret that they will soon understand. It's
yeah,
like
that's a
guessing
feature.
game.
That's a feature of this podcast, is being totally confused 50% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
all right,
Like now.
So,
continue.
speaking of that, no, I lost it now. I don't even know what I was doing.
You said something like, "You know where a good place for Battle Cry."
Oh,
Yeah,
that.
Yeah.
A good place for battle cries would be in Scotland,
Yes.
because Braveheart, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
William
Okay.
Wallace.
They may take our freedom. Wait, I did that backwards.
That
They
was
won't
sounded
take
not
our
like a
freedom.
Grammy.
Scottish.
They might take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom.
You sounded like an old lady. They're gonna take my freedom.
Oh, I heard when he
Please,
rolled
not
his
my
Start hooligans.
when he rolled his R, I heard him like I was hearing like him trying to rev up a motorcycle or something.
That's a weed eater, I think.
Anyway, yeah. Scotland. So this was just a random. I couldn't think of much to talk about, and then I thought of more stuff. But this was something that I thought I'd mention. Later this summer, I have a chance to go to Scotland. I'm hopefully going. I'm planning on going. And
Very
assuming nothing crazy happens, like I have to get another new car or something like that. And it's actually the reason I haven't gotten a new laptop yet is because I'm just trying to save my money for the trip.
What month are you going?
August.
At the beginning or the end? I'm trying to figure out when I can rob your house. Just continue.
Okay. This is actually, it's the first official Alphycraft meetup.
What?
Oh.
You're gonna go see all your Scottish friends? Like Bailey? Yeah,
yes.
I did it.
I just think it's funny that you said all your Scottish friends. I have like, well, I mean, I guess if you count the whole Wrongtown crew, that's like 4, but...
Is it Bailey Welsh?
No, he's Scottish.
You do this every time, SnoShoe.
I know. At this point, it's basically just me trolling him. But I'm masking that by the fact that I really don't remember which one it is.
But you said like Bailey, and I said yes, and then you said, isn't Bailey Welsh? What is
I know, I couldn't remember if he really was Scottish or Welsh, so I just guessed, and then I couldn't tell if that was true or not. I was very
SnoShoe was
confused.
trying to be ironic, and then he failed to be ironic.
I was actually truthful.
Yeah. It was like somehow a double fail, I think,
It
is
was.
how you have to count that one.
Well, if you guys are there at the right time, we'll actually be on the same continent at the same time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but, I mean, we're on the same continent at the same time right now. Yeah. But, yeah.
But it's
But
more
it's much
impressive over
smaller.
there, because the continent's smaller, yeah.
It's true. Probably on the exact opposite sides, though, but, yeah, I'm going to Europe in August as well.
Okay.
Very nice.
Cool.
Very cool. Where all are you visiting? Because I have not been to Scotland, but I've been to a bunch of other places in Europe.
Well, I've never been anywhere but the United States.
Same.
Well, I guess Mexico counts. But I'm going to Greece.
Oh, Greece. Cool.
The land of heroes. I believe is what they
Nice.
call themselves.
Yeah, I have not been to Greece either, so you guys are hitting new territory for me. But that is cool.
Yeah, I'm excited to go. Drew, what are you most looking forward to about your Scottish adventure?
Honestly, I'm most looking forward to meeting all of my friends. Honestly, the rest of it, I'm a little terrified because I don't know how much of it I'll have someone as a guide and how much of it I'll just kind of... I'm hopefully going for about a week because I figure, like, I'm not just going to go for, like, a day to Scotland. Like, that's not worth it. So if I'm going, I'm going to go for, like, a week.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
But I have no idea. I've never been out of the country, so like I don't, and I haven't even. Last time I flew on a plane, I was a baby, so like I'm not used to that kind of stuff at all. So
Right.
I haven't flown that far before. I'm nervous about that. But on top of that, I'm nervous because English is not the official language of
Well,
Greece.
that's what I was gonna say to Drew. Is like at least in Scotland, all of the signs will be in English. You might not be
Yeah.
able to understand the natives very well,
yeah,
but at least you'll be able to read the signs to be able to get from place
Well,
to
Yeah.
place.
I think I can read Greek okay. Like, I've been practicing, and I think I can sound out the words all right.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean I have any idea what the heck they mean.
Well, I don't know if you've played with it at all, but the Google Translate app for smartphones nowadays you can take pictures of stuff,
Yeah, I've
and
seen
it
those.
it's very, very cool. You can like just snap a photo, and it finds the text in the photo and gives you a translation of it.
You know, I've
So-
seen one that's actually real time. It takes you just hold your camera over it, and it overlays English text with what you're looking at.
that's cool.
Freaking nuts! That's Star Trek level stuff right
It's
there.
crazy. Yeah, one of the guys I work with is Swedish, and his dad can't read English, so he just holds his phone and does the opposite.
I
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say something like one of the guys I work with is Swedish, and so that's why you're going to Greece or something like that.
I was going to go to Sweden to see his... He was in the Air Force, actually, so he was going to do this awesome, like, retirement ceremony thing, but it fell through. I was pretty upset about that.
Oh.
That seems like it would have been a lot of fun. But instead, I don't know what the heck I'm going to do in Greece. I'm going to eat a lot, and
I think that's the only requirement, actually.
I think so. I'm
From
going to
what
stay
I
in a cave,
understand.
because all the houses there are caves, apparently.
I've seen
I'm gonna go
Greece
see
in
Poseidon's
GeoGuessr, and
temple.
I can tell you there are houses that are not in caves.
Well, I will not be in them. I will be in Cave House.
Yeah, they're all occupied. He doesn't.
That's true.
The only free lodging, available lodging in Greece is in caves.
Caves.
Yeah. Exactly.
But yeah, for the Scotland meetup, I've told a couple of people about it, and most people are like really excited for me, and they're like, "Wow, that's awesome," and all this stuff, and
Right.
like that's an awesome opportunity and everything. I was talking to my one friend, and she asked me, "What are you going for?" And I basically, and I realized as I was saying this, and like from her facial expression, I'm like, this probably isn't the best way to word it, because I basically said I'm going to Scotland to meet people in person
That I know from the internet.
Yeah, that I
That
know
are not
from the
you.
internet. And she was seriously concerned. She's like, is anyone going with you? Like, and she's like, be like super careful and all this stuff. And I mean, like, obviously,
Swallow this GPS tracker.
obviously, like traveling to a different country and stuff, I have to be careful. But like, I can't explain like I've talked to these people for like 2 years, and I've actually like seen
Right.
their faces, heard their voices, and everything. It's not
Yeah.
just like I'm typing to some random person in a chat room.
Not everyone gets the concept of being able to make friends with people that you've met on the internet, and to be able to trust people that you know on the internet.
Yeah,
'Cause
like
that's
I'm
not,
pretty
like-
sure after how many episodes is this?
This is episode 30 of the podcast.
I'm pretty sure after over probably 40 hours of talking to you guys that you're likely not going to kill me, and if you are, then that's the long con. That's
Yeah, that's
That's
kind
real
of
commitment.
that's kind of how I feel. I'm like, if for some reason they've fooled me all this time. Also, she was
It's like that's commitment. They should just be rewarded
and she
by
was
success.
also like,
at
you
that
don't
point.
know, they could be like a psycho. I'm like, all 8 of them or whatever. And she's like,
it only
yes.
takes one. It only takes one to kill you all, Drew. Watch your back.
But yeah, she had other questions too, like, are your parents okay with this? I'm like, yes, and I mean, I think my parents pretty much since that one day that they dropped me off at the mall to meet you,
Right. Yeah,
and I
they're
came
pretty
back
much like,
alive
whatever.
from that. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure they're okay with it. So
I was thinking the only commonalities between Greece and Scotland that I can think of besides being in Europe is
Mm-hmm.
that they both have a lot of sheep. Except Greece, you eat them, and Scotland, you look at them.
no, in Scotland they have haggis. That's sheep guts.
Yeah.
Is it really?
It
Yeah.
is, yeah. It's cheap.
Wow. Learn something new every day.
Yep. There you go. So you're prepared.
Yeah,
for
I'm
Greece.
actually I'm generally a picky eater, and so I'm terrified of like that I'm gonna end up, because like I'm actually staying with one of the guys because I can't really afford a hotel.
Right.
Live in a cave. Super cheap.
And
not
so
paying
I'm
at all.
terrified that it's like I'm gonna be staying with them, and of course, to be polite, like I'll have to eat their family's food and everything, and I'm just like, I'm terrified that I'm not gonna like it.
Yeah,
Well,
we're going on a food tour, and I'm pretty nervous about that.
Well, I can promise you, having been out of the country myself, to a bunch of different countries, you are guaranteed to be able, if you can't find anything else, there will be a McDonald's that serves pretty much all the same stuff that it serves here.
Yeah.
You know? So
I'm gonna be
there's
sick either way.
yeah, exactly. But there is always an American friendly option. Whether it's
Yeah.
necessarily good or not is up for debate. But there's at least something
But-
that will fill your stomach while you're
If they have like
But-
haggis nuggets.
They might, because there are. I mean, you will find in other countries, you will find that there are some specific differences. There's stuff on the menus in like McDonald's Paris that you're not going to find it on the menu in McDonald's USA.
My friend, I don't remember what it was, but my friend sent me a picture of the menu from, I don't think it even had the same name, but it clearly was Australia Burger King.
Right?
But it was like, I think there was some kind of like kangaroo burger or something like
Right.
on the menu. Like, yeah.
And of course, in Australia, they're going to have little plastic pouches of Vegemite. Yep. That's
So gross.
that's like Australia's known for Vegemite for some reason. It's I don't
Yeah.
know When we went to Australia, there was a consistent thing at mealtime where people would find the little packet of Vegemite in the center of the table next to the, Splenda, and, that sort of stuff, and be like, I dare you to eat some Vegemite.
That's so gross.
And very, very few people were brave enough to actually try it, and none of them, based on their facial expressions, approved of it in the slightest. So, yeah, very, very odd.
I just imagined, I've watched the game. I don't participate, but I've watched a game where it's kind of Russian roulette, but it's I forget what they call it. It might be called like sugar packet roulette, and everybody they take sugar packets from the table and tear the tops off, and then one of them gets dumped out, and they pour a salt packet in there. And then everybody has to like take theirs at the same time. And then obviously you lose if you get a mouthful of salt. But
I feel like that's marginally worse. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. But
I was just imagining if you could somehow do that with like ketchup packets, and then someone has Vegemite.
Man, I don't think that there is a condiment on the planet that is even close enough to Vegemite that you might possibly think that that's not what you've gotten.
Yeah, probably.
I think you're pretty much.
You might have to maybe mix ketchup and gravy or something. I don't know. I'm trying to think of like what the color and consistency is.
It's like green though. I think.
Yeah.
It's like a greenish brown.
I thought it was like a brown.
Yeah, well, it's like a greenish brown. It's like overripe avocado kind of color, I think.
Oh.
It's not pleasant. It's not a pleasant thing. We should probably just move on, honestly.
Luckily, we're still on track.
That bad. Yeah. But as a matter of fact, it is time to move on to the questions segment of the podcast.
Questions.
We have 4 questions for this podcast. Thank you, everybody, for submitting your questions.
Technically, okay. How do we count these? Are the subparts
We have
questions?
3 submitters. And
Okay.
there are 4 questions because one submitted 2 questions. It is not rocket science here, SnoShoe.
/ don't be too hard on him. He also can't spell anything other than Dem Guys Podcast and KSP.
KSP and GTA.
GTA.
Well, I can spell first question letter A. Question asker A. A million monkeys. His question, I. Hey guys, may the 4th be with you. He knows. Since Monday was Star Wars Day. Oh, maybe he doesn't know.
He knows.
Who is your favorite character from the Star Wars universe?
May the 4th.
Yeah, May the 4th. We're recording on Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you.
May the 4th be with you guys.
Indeed. And then that makes tomorrow Cinco de Mayo as well for us. Yesterday for you.
Snow, I'm not curious. What do you think that he
Well, I couldn't
knew?
tell if he knew that we were recording on May the 4th or he was just saying Happy May the 4th on Wednesday.
He's 2 rooms over and I'm using his laptop. He knows.
Oh. Well, May the 4th be with you too.
That's amazing. But
I feel like Clark Griswold every time I say that. You ever seen Christmas Vacation? This tree, the spirit of the Griswold family Christmas.
Yep, I remember that scene. But yeah, okay, so favorite character from the Star Wars universe. Well, of course, that's going to open the can of worms of, are we talking the 3 movies that everybody acknowledges, the 6 movies that some people acknowledge?
Wow, what? Wow.
Or are we talking the expanded universe, which is no longer considered canonical?
I know what I have 2, honestly.
All right, Drew, let's hear.
One
let's start
expanded.
with you.
Okay. As far as the movies go, Boba Fett.
Boba Fett's a very popular choice.
Yes.
Yep.
As far as the expanded universe goes, this is really hard. Because there are a lot of Mandalorian characters that are awesome, but I feel like Boba Fett covers that well enough. So
right.
I am going to go with Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Yes. That's also a very cool character. If you listening out there on the listenership are not familiar with any of the Star Wars novels, there is a trilogy of novels written by Timothy Zahn.
Yes.
It was the Thrawn trilogy is what it's been referred to.
He's in more of them, though.
Well, he is, yes, but that's where the character was introduced.
Yes.
And it was a very cool character. Very, very much a master strategist for the Empire, and just a very cool character overall, and he was like the first like villain that I got exposed to as part of my reading into Star Wars novels. That was the first one outside of the Star Wars movies. So he's pretty high up on my list as well. I would say from the movies, from the actual on-screen canonical stuff, I think I gotta go with R2-D2. I mean, you just know that the level of snark that's present in those beep boops is far higher than anything C-3PO is able to convey on his behalf. Like he's a sarcastic little SOB, I think, and you just never really get to know exactly how much. And I love that about him. And then from the expanded universe stuff, Mara Jade, I thought was a fantastic character as well. Very well-rounded, lots of character development for her, and just turned out to be a lot of fun. So I like that character a lot too.
No, if you don't have anything yet, I have something to add.
Well, I think I'm gonna go with an actor who was both in Star Wars and Batman.
It's not a character. It's an actor.
I know.
Okay.
But he's the actor that plays a character. Don't break the fourth wall. Do you guys have any idea who that is? There may be multiples, but
he was in Star Wars and he was in Batman.
Which Batman?
Jack Nicholson Batman.
I haven't seen it.
Wow, that's going back a ways.
Well, what else is he gonna be in? He's probably dead by now. Actually, let's see.
I could not tell you. I don't know.
Let me see. Is he still alive?
That's
it looks like he's alive. He starred in something this year.
Oh,
I mean, so did Paul Walker.
Wow, too soon. Actor Billy D. Williams as Lando Calrissian.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I didn't know he did Batman too.
Sure enough, he was Two-Face in the Jack Nicholson Batman.
Are you serious?
Yep.
Really? I didn't realize Two-Face was in that one.
Let me think. He was Harvey Dent because I don't think he had actually.
He didn't do it. He hadn't had the accident, but how about that?
That's
yep.
I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch that now.
I can't picture that at all.
But
that is funny.
In a close second, I would have to go with the tauntaun that got sliced open to provide warmth.
That's a classic. Yeah.
Yeah.
ThinkGeek ended up actually making a tauntaun sleeping bag, right? Like it was an April Fool's Day joke, I think, one year, and people loved it so much. I think they actually investigated in making it a real product.
That's so fantastic.
Yeah, if I'm remembering right, I think that's the way that it was.
I think I'm gonna get one for my child when I have one.
ThinkGeek also has canned unicorn meat, so
ThinkGeek is just awesome all around. Yeah.
No, what I want to say real quick about Mara Jade is whenever I first read about her, she had a ship which was named the Jade Saber, and
right.
But whoever wrote it in the I think it's the British spelling, I guess.
Right.
It's not the traditional, for me, the traditional spelling of saber. So it's spelled Sabre. I had never seen this.
Like
and so I Jade Sabre.
That's what I thought it was pronounced as for the longest time, until one time I was reading a Star Wars book the author also wrote in that spelling of it, and he wrote lightsaber with that spelling.
And you went, oh!
Right then I went, oh! And so, yeah.
That makes sense. I was wondering what a sabre was. I love those moments in life when you're like, wait a second.
Yeah.
I've been reading this word wrong all along. It's been years now. Yeah. Very cool.
Okay, I'm going to move on.
All right,
okay with you guys?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Next question from Asker Letter B. Question I.
I'm going to have to take a screenshot of the agenda at some point for the poor listeners who are like, why is he putting letters in here?
No. It's a mystery. We answered most of this. Question letter I is, what are your plans for the summer?
Well,
so I am obviously getting married, which is a plan. It is a plan.
It is a plan.
The best part just happened though.
That's a good summary of it.
Yeah, we had cake tasting the other day, which I think is maybe slightly below actually getting married in terms of marriage planning.
It is the best part for the guy.
I'm only obligated to say that, so. But no, that was fantastic.
It's like, if there was no chance that my fiance might actually listen to this at any point, I'd say it's actually better than the getting married part. But I gotta cover myself.
Our demographic is maybe 50% women, so I probably can't say that anyway.
Oh, fair enough.
This wouldn't be a podcast without me saying something that makes you guys outraged. I don't
Fantastic.
I don't like cake, so that
don't
would
like
not
cake.
be...
I knew it. You don't like anything good. What's wrong with you?
Drew's why we can't have nice things. That's pretty funny.
Well, Slash, what about you? I know she probably has an
I don't
idea.
like icing, so.
Oh, I gotcha. Yeah, in terms of my plans for the summer, nothing too extravagant this year, because I think next year, either next February or the following February, I think we're planning on doing a Disney World vacation.
Snap.
So this summer is a little bit more lower key as a result. My family has a cabin up northwest of my house, about 2-3 hours, I guess.
I think you've told us about it, because you have the N64, the NES or something up there.
That's right. We got the old classic systems. The Super Nintendo broke at some point.
Is that where you watched the llamas poop?
Oh, was it? It might have been.
Yeah, I think yeah.
That sounds familiar.
Llama poo bingo.
Yeah.
Wasn't it called Llama Plop?
Right. Yeah, it was Llama Plop. That's right. Yeah, man, I forgot all about that. Oh, that brings back some memories. But anyway, we usually hit that up for a while. We go up for
Llama Plop?
the cabin. 3 or 4 days at the Llama Plop, And there's a possibility that we might be going to... There's a possibility that we, meaning my entire family plus myself, will be going to the beach. And there's also a possibility that the rest of the family will go to the beach and I will stay home like a sane person. That has not been decided yet. Neither one of us, my wife nor I, are really big fans of going down to the beach, so it would be like an overnighter at most. But the kids really like going to the beach, so it'd be a sacrifice for their sake.
That's what Disney World is, so you can just tell them they have better things coming.
Well, that's true. Yeah, we love Disney World. The whole family loves Disney World.
I love Disney World, but it's definitely different being there when you're older. You really have to put yourself in the shoes of a kid.
Yeah. And
just deal with the outrageous, ridiculous, Jasmine coming up and saying hi to you, and you're like, hello, I realize that I am an adult and you are an adult. You don't need to cater to me, thank you. My wife keeps me young, though, in that respect. We're still able to get into the child mindset very easily when we were visiting at Disney. So that's not not a problem for us at all.
I haven't seen Disney, but I have seen that in effect.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's quite entertaining.
Yep. Well, other than Scotland, you have anything in your plans, Drew?
Actually, in July, my family is going out to Illinois, and we're having a family reunion where tons and tons of cousins and people I've never met are all going to be there, and I'm going to meet them and try to be interested for my parents' and grandparents' sake.
I'm so confused about the geography of up near where you guys live. How in the world is Illinois even close to where you guys are?
It's not particularly.
Okay.
It's several states over.
Just wanted to make sure.
It just happens to be where... Because we have family on that side. We have, some live down in Florida, some live out in California. It's just... Illinois is, I guess,
somewhat
where someone
located.
lives that's somewhat central to the country. So
yeah.
Okay, that makes more sense. I was going to say, first Ohio, now Illinois? What is this world coming to?
Man, these states. God.
Yeah.
He's like, we don't have any of those down in Oklahoma.
No states down here. Just Texas. Countries.
Yeah, no doubt.
Okay,
funny.
I'm moving on to question letter I from still the same question asker.
You mean
question
I?
letter I question.
It was I. It was twice as long.
Still from question asker B under subpart of this podcast 11.
Right, and I don't know if you said the name. Oirlinde is the question.
Oirlinde.
I think you just said question asker B and moved on.
She's asked to remain anonymous. Apparently. She asks, what are your guilty pleasures? Hers is old school Britney Spears songs, for instance.
Yes, it is. This is my wife, by the way. For everybody
I'm sure
listening.
that's a good one for you.
Yeah. Yeah, they come up randomly, just a cappella. She's going about the house, doing whatever. Yeah, well, I'll tell you, I will share, half because she's probably expecting to, and half because it's a legitimate thing. But I will share that my current guilty pleasure is that she kind of sucked me into watching The Vampire Diaries on Netflix, which is a CW show like Smallville and Supernatural. And it's definitely very CW in terms of like the teen drama type stuff and the 20-something actors trying to play 17-year-olds, that sort of thing.
But you can't go out with a vampire.
Well, exactly. But I have actually found that I find it very entertaining. I mean, there are moments where I'm definitely riffing on it, but there are other parts that are genuinely entertaining as they are. Because there's the one character, one of the vampires named Damon. He has the best dialogue that I have heard in a long time. He just gets the best, like, snark, and he gives these hilarious, like, facial expressions as he's, like, jibing at people, jabbing people verbally. He's absolutely hysterical. So I have been enjoying that. That is my guilty pleasure right now. What about you, Drew? Do you have any guilty pleasures that you're willing to share with the listeners?
I'm just trying to think if I even really have any, because a guilty pleasure would be something that you enjoyed that most people would probably, like, make fun of you for or something, right?
Something like that, yeah. Or something that you enjoy it and you yourself are like, I really should not be liking this as much as I do.
I don't have any of those where I myself am like, oh, that's... Or at least none that come to mind. I don't have anything that is, like, I myself am like, it's probably, like, not. But I have two things. One that wouldn't really be made fun of me for, but basically something that if I get a chance, I will go for it, is the candy Reese's Sticks. I absolutely love those. No, probably something that I know a lot of people who are my age would not really understand at all is I love musicals, and, like, especially, like, old musicals with, like Bing Crosby and stuff like that.
I gotcha. Okay.
So I
think that qualifies.
That's something, like, I was super excited to see Into the Woods.
Now, I was excited by Into the Woods as well, though, because that musical's hysterical.
It was very long.
It was, yeah.
But, yeah, I enjoyed it.
Best part of Into the Woods was the duet between the two princes, because the one prince is played by Chris Pine.
That was...
Oh my gosh, I cannot get over how hysterical... I would watch just that part over and on endless loop, because it is hilarious the way they try to outdo each other. It's just the looks and the different actions. Oh, man. Chris Pine does a fantastic job in the movie.
My sister and I convinced my brother-in-law, who's very much not into that kind of stuff. Like, he's a, like, hunting and country music kind of guy. And,
right.
We convinced him to go with us, and he was watching it, and he was kind of like he wasn't really enjoying it, but he was kind of like, whatever. When it got to that scene, he leaned over to me and said, Star Trek is ruined for me now.
Oh, that's funny.
But that scene was so hilarious. I would absolutely agree. Because, I mean, as soon as you see, like, Chris Pine, like, they're like practically playing in a river while they're singing about these girls that they're in love with, and, like, how like each brother, like, one is struggling more than the other kind of thing, and they're trying to, like, outdo each other. That whole thing just cracked me up.
I mean, Chris Pine especially, he did such a good job in that movie, really selling the ridiculously, like, pompous and arrogant prince, archetype.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just, oh man, it was hysterical. I mean, it has to be seen to be appreciated.
Let's see, my guilty pleasures. I think so. You guys already know about Viva Pinata. I don't need to go over that much more.
Right.
There's only two more I can think of. Cheesy Gordita Crunch from Taco Bell.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, I feel terrible when I eat it, and I feel like I shouldn't like it. But, I mean, the first, like, bite tastes so good, and the rest of it tastes so good, but right after you just feel like you shouldn't have taken anything more than the first bite.
Right.
I guess that counts. And then the other one is something that I'm sure you guys can't even relate to, but it's the TV show The Challenge on MTV. I don't know why I like it so much, but it is.
I haven't heard of it.
It's a show
but...
filled with the worst human beings you can possibly imagine, doing like some of the raunchiest, weirdest stuff. But it's a game show still. I don't know. I hate myself for watching it, but I sit there and I watch it, and it's so entertaining to me.
Yeah. I've watched TV shows like that before, where it's like, this is not good television at all. This is doing horrible things to my brain. I can feel my IQ being lowered by the minute. I can't turn it off.
I thought of another funny one, or not funny. I thought of another one for me when Snow brought that up. I do watch a lot of stuff with my sister that most guys would be like, oh, that's stupid, or that's for girls or whatever. But I watch So You Think You Can Dance, which that
SYCTYD?
Yes.
I think I did that backwards. I was attempting to spell it, but it didn't work.
Because you should know better. You know that you can only spell Dumb Guys Podcast.
It's true.
And then I love Downton Abbey. It's another good one. So
yeah, I never tried to get into that.
Yeah, I only like that show because I can play the intro on piano. But past that, I tried to watch it, and I was like, nope, screw this. And
so
I'll just
good.
While my fiance is watching it, I just go up to my piano room. I just go do 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 do, just over and over.
Oh man.
Okay, time for the last question from Question Asker C. Question.
That's what I heard.
Question Asker C. Sarah JMCB. Question letter I, or maybe Roman numeral lowercase I. She says, if a train is leaving a city on the East Coast at 11:45 a.m., a child on a bicycle runs over a worm at noon, and 4 + 4 = 7, on what part of the color wheel can you find a razzmatazz?
Sponge.
You know,
this isn't obvious to the other two of you? I mean, that seems pretty...
Well, that was my first guess.
Okay.
But I think the question is deeper.
Oh.
But really all I can think about is razzmatazzes at Jamba Juice, and they're so good, and it's my favorite flavor. So I'm gonna go with Jamba Juice.
Okay, all right.
And
I think that's a reasonable answer.
My answer, because after that madness, the only thing I can think of is the answer must be 42.
I figured. I knew one of us was gonna go there.
How can it be 42 if 4 + 4 is 7?
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Drew, you'll like this. If 4 + 4 is 7, therefore that means that one of the numbers was skipped, and the answer is actually now 43.
Oh, that's true.
There we go.
Actually, would it be the opposite? Would it be 41?
No.
Okay.
Just accept it, Snow.
Fine.
All right.
Okay.
Well, that is the answer to End All Answers.
We've done well.
End all questions. End all question askers.
Yes.
End all subparts of the podcast.
So,
it's over.
Goodbye.
Section A, subparagraph 3.
Flash, stop talking. We're done.
What?
At least you stop talking.
Thank you everybody for listening. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Drew's not gonna say anything because he's like, it's over.